Hello everyone, welcome back to AAS Publishing. In this video series we are covering on publishing in the AAS journals serving as a referee. So this is sort of in sister with one of the earlier video series we did on publishing in the AAS journals as an author, and this is on the other side of that cube of serving as a referee. So in the last video in this series, we covered what is the goal of the peer review process. And in this one, I want to cover who is a referee and what some of the aspects of being a referee are. I'm going to take one drink of my nice water here for a second before I roll. Thank you. Okay, who is a referee? So basically, we consider every publishing author as a potential referee. Primarily, we want a subject matter expert, somebody who knows the topic at hand, and this is usually, but not always, at the post-PhD level. And then there are a number of items who is not chosen, and this is usually falls into the broad rubric of objectivity concerns. So not somebody who's a previous co-author with the authors. That's the family and friends plan. Not someone from the same institution for obvious reasons. If you're going to be critical of a manuscript, that can be really hard when the author is right down the hall or right next door to you. So definitely not someone from the same institution. Not someone who is known to be a mortal enemy. There are certainly aspects of some communities where people seem to enjoy that mortal combat with each other, taking down each other's papers, and so you, unless you really like that as an editor, you try and avoid those mortal enemy situations. Not always successful. There are just pitfalls you don't know, and all of a sudden you find yourself in one, and okay. That's the topic of another video series on how to be an editor. You want someone not known to be a close friend. They may not work on the same topic, but known to be a bud, and so again, that's the family and friends plan, and these are all objectivity concerns. And the other thing is scientific editors are not know-alls of all relationships among peoples, and so referees are expected to reveal potential conflicts of interest. Now, just because you work in the same topical area, let's just to be specific, let's say galaxies, that doesn't mean when you get a request to review a paper on an aspect of galaxies that you immediately decline, citing a potential conflict of interest because you work in galaxies. Okay, you're probably exactly chosen because you have some expertise of relevance to the topic in galaxies. Conflict of interest means revealing that you are a co-author, or you're a mortal enemy, or you're a close friend, but not that you work in the same general topical area. And I mention this because, of course, because people do cite general topic areas as conflict of interest. It's not. Okay, so every publishing author. So when the scientific editor has selected potential referees, securing that referee process begins. And I'll just mention in general, it's a AAS Journals traditionally has used one referee per paper. That is always in motion. There are some topics where two referees are routinely used. I'll say laboratory astrophysics for one. But there are others where sometimes it's advantageous to have two referees. And certainly we heard calls, I just heard one last week, that two should be the norm. And we'll get to that when we, in the next video series. How often should I referee? So once you've got your list of potential referees, then you've got to secure one. And this can take a little while. And let's explore a few reasons why that can take a while. First of all, we're all busy. Got it, check. And a quality report takes time. Got it. And we'll come back to this here in another slide or two. Also, specialized manuscripts may have very small communities, and so all the players are known to each other. Hopefully, they're not all mortal enemies of each other. And so very specialized manuscripts where there's not a lot of expertise around can take a while to find someone. At the other end of that spectrum, you have very large collaboration manuscripts that can subsume most or healthy chunks of the community. Here's looking at you, LIGO. Here's looking at you, Cosmic Ray Experiments. And those can have their own challenges. Somebody who's not slurped up into one of the collaborations. Other factors can enter. Occasionally you get internet service providers who will spam the mail, mark it as spam. It goes into people's spam mailboxes. And so it's not that the potential referee didn't get your message, it just sort of got auto-moved into their spam. So I would encourage everyone to whitelist stuff from the AAS journals, because those are going to be with regard to the peer review process and being a referee. So let us in if you can. And then there's also those who do not respond to a referee request, a repeated referee request. It sits and sits. And so you go off and you look for another referee. Eventually you'll find one. And so then a message goes out saying, thank you very much, but we found, another referee. And then those people will immediately respond to the another referee been secured message. So, okay, a little bit of flame. Probably should have sent a message at the first ones, giving a rationale, too busy, etc., things along those lines. But ignoring them and then immediately replying to we got someone else is a particular pet peeve, fire of mine. So if a potential referee does reply, thank you, the response can be that just the timing is bad. I've got proposals coming up. I'm going on observing run. I'm going on vacation, whatever it may be. The manuscript is too far from current interest. Topic A is what I used to do 10 years ago. I'm not really up on the game. Fine. Or that there's a potential conflict of interest. Well, you didn't know this, but the author was actually my ex-grad student or was a postdoc of mine a few years ago. Things along those lines. Those are conflicts of interest. And just a reminder, there are professional and ethical standards for the AAS. I encourage you to take a look at them. And if potential referees, who decline a request, it's always great if you can suggest other potential reviewers. You may suggest somebody that the scientific editor hasn't considered, open up different avenues for looking for a potential reviewer. So I encourage you, if you're going to turn it down, please suggest a few other people as potential referees. So a potential referee does have some ethical responsibilities. One is to the community to consider reviewing the paper, and we're going to cover the article. We'll cover this in a little bit. And number two, and perhaps more important, the referee is a privileged reader, usually with access to information that is not available otherwise. And yes, I understand people do post on arXiv, and that's not exactly what we're talking about here. So an abstract usually has enough information for a potential referee to decide to accept or decline. If you do decline, suggest other reviewers. An abstract can also convey enough information for an unethical person to abuse the peer review process by taking that information in the abstract and then trying to publish an article on that topic first. Fortunately, this rarely happens in the astronomical community. A little bit more prevalent in some other fields. And so just as a reminder, we do have professional and ethics standards for referees and for the journals. Do take a look at what those ethics are. So there are approximately 10,000 astro folks worldwide. There's roughly of order of magnitude about 1,000 articles per journal per year. And there are several top-tier astronomy, physics, engineering, instrumentation, computer science journals that send referee requests. And so the number of referee requests is usually larger for more visible researchers. Okay? And so they will get a lot. They will not necessarily choose to referee all of them. And so you will get the, I'm too busy, I've got 3 other ones going, whatever it may be. And so sort of a brief summary of what we've talked about over the last 10 minutes or so is that securing a referee is not a random process, but there is a stochastic element associated with it, just based on people, timing, etc. So not random, but there is some stochasticity to it. And finally, I want to end this video on a little bit on collaborations. We talked a little bit about some of the larger ones. And so larger collaborations, even medium-sized ones, usually have an internal process that vets manuscripts before submission. This is great. This often substantially improves the quality of a submission, but it cannot replace the independent review process provided by a referee. So for example, if you're in one of these large collaborations or medium-sized collaborations and you do a vetting process, you may fall, the authors may fall to sort of an embedded understanding. We all get it, but that can be really hard to see when you're inside the forest. And so oftentimes a referee who's looking at the forest from the outside may be able to just spot this assumed understanding, this embedded understanding, and help have the authors recognize that they need to be a little bit clearer in their manuscript. So that's what I wanted to say today on who is a potential referee. And we'll see you on the next one where we're going to tackle the topic of how often should I referee. See you then. Thanks. Bye-bye.